Hello and welcome to our video on plant life on Mars. In this hour-long video, we will explore the potential for plant life on the red planet, the challenges and opportunities involved in growing plants on Mars, and the implications for both scientific discovery and human exploration. To start, let's consider the potential benefits of growing plants on Mars. One of the most obvious applications is to provide food for human settlers on the planet. The ability to grow crops on Mars could significantly reduce the cost and complexity of resupplying a human mission with food and other essential resources from Earth. In addition to food, plants could also play an important role in supporting the overall ecosystem on Mars. Plants can help to recycle nutrients, produce oxygen, and regulate the temperature and humidity of the environment, creating a more hospitable habitat for humans and other organisms. Beyond these practical applications, the study of plant life on Mars could also yield important insights into the ability of life to survive and adapt to extreme environments. By studying plant growth on Mars, scientists could learn more about how plants cope with stress, adapt to low nutrient environments, and survive in conditions of high radiation and temperature fluctuations. Of course, the challenges of growing plants on Mars are significant. The Martian environment is extremely harsh, with high levels of radiation, low atmospheric pressure, and a lack of liquid water on the surface. The soil on Mars also contains high levels of perchlorate, which is toxic to both plants and humans. To overcome these challenges, researchers are exploring a range of different technologies and techniques for growing plants on Mars. One approach is to use hydroponics or aeroponics, in which plants are grown in water or air and receive nutrients through a mist or solution. Another approach is to develop specialized soils or fertilizers that can support plant growth in the Martian environment. In addition to these technical challenges, there are also important ethical considerations to be addressed. Introducing Earth-based plant species to the Martian environment could have unintended ecological consequences, particularly if the plants were to spread uncontrollably and displace native Martian life forms. Similarly, terraforming Mars to make it more hospitable to Earth-based life could have unintended environmental consequences, and may raise important questions about our responsibility to preserve the natural environments of other planets. Despite these challenges, there have been several recent experiments and developments in the field of plant life on Mars. In 2015, for example, NASA's Veggie project sent a small greenhouse to the International Space Station to study plant growth in space. The project successfully grew lettuce on the ISS, demonstrating that it is possible to grow crops in space. In 2018, a team of scientists from the Netherlands published the results of an experiment in which they grew 10 different plant species in simulated Martian soil. The experiment used a type of hydroponics system called aeroponics, and found that 8 of the 10 plant species grew successfully in the simulated Martian soil, although the plants did show some stunted growth and lower nutrient uptake compared to plants grown in Earth soil. In 2019, the China National Space Administration announced that it had successfully grown cotton plants on the far side of the Moon, in a specially designed mini biosphere. The experiment demonstrated that it is possible to grow plants in a sealed, self-sustaining environment on another celestial body, albeit on a much smaller scale than would be required for future human missions to Mars. Overall, the potential implications of plant life on Mars are significant. From a scientific perspective, the study of plant growth on Mars could yield important insights into the ability of life to adapt to extreme environments and could inform our understanding of the evolution of life on Earth and other planets. From a practical perspective, the ability to grow crops on Mars could be a game changer for human exploration of the red planet. As we mentioned earlier, growing crops on Mars could significantly reduce the cost and complexity of resupplying a human mission with food and other essential resources from Earth. In addition, the development of technologies for growing plants on Mars could have important applications on Earth, particularly in the context of climate change and the need to develop sustainable food production systems that can cope with the increasing pressures on our planet's resources. Finally, the implications of plant life on Mars also raise important ethical and philosophical questions about our relationship to other planets and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. The study of plant life on Mars, and the potential for humans to introduce Earth-based life to other planets, forces us to grapple with questions about the ethical limits of human exploration and intervention in other ecosystems, as well as the possibility of discovering new forms of life beyond our own planet. To further explore the potential for plant life on Mars, it is important to consider some of the key challenges that must be overcome in order to successfully cultivate crops on the red planet. One of the biggest challenges is the harsh Martian environment. Mars has a thin atmosphere that provides little protection from solar radiation, and its surface is characterized by extreme temperatures, frequent dust storms, and a lack of water and nutrients. To address these challenges, researchers are developing innovative technologies and techniques for growing plants on Mars. For example, experiments have shown that certain types of plants, such as potatoes and sweet potatoes, can be grown in simulated Martian soil using hydroponic systems that provide the necessary water and nutrients. In addition, some researchers are exploring the potential of genetically modifying plants to make them more resistant to the harsh Martian environment. For example, a recent study found that by altering the genes of Arabidopsis plants, researchers were able to significantly increase their tolerance to high levels of salt, which could be an important adaptation for growing crops in Martian soil, which is known to contain high levels of salts. Another challenge is the need to ensure that any plant life introduced to Mars does not contaminate the planet's ecosystem or interfere with ongoing scientific research. To address this issue, the International Committee on Space Research has developed guidelines for preventing the contamination of other planets and ensuring the responsible conduct of scientific research in space. One of the most promising areas of research in the field of plant life on Mars is the study of extremophiles, or organisms that are able to survive and thrive in extreme environments. By studying these organisms, researchers hope to gain important insights into the mechanisms of adaptation and survival in hostile environments, and to develop new technologies and techniques for growing crops in extreme environments, including Mars. One example of an extremophile that is being studied for its potential applications in space is the cyanobacterium, Anabaena sb. PCC 7120. This organism is known for its ability to survive in extreme conditions, including high levels of radiation and the absence of nutrients, and it has been studied for its potential applications in bioregenerative life support systems, which use living organisms to recycle waste and generate oxygen and food for astronauts on long-duration space missions. Another area of research that is showing promise in the field of plant life on Mars is the development of regenerative agriculture techniques, which focus on using sustainable and closed-loop systems to cultivate crops in extreme environments. These techniques include vertical farming, hydroponics, and aquaponics, which use minimal water and energy and can be adapted to a wide range of environments, including Mars. In addition to these scientific and technological advances, the potential for plant life on Mars also raises important questions about the ethics and implications of human intervention in other ecosystems. As we continue to explore the red planet and develop new technologies for cultivating crops in extreme environments, it is important to consider the potential impact of our actions on other organisms and ecosystems, and to take a responsible and sustainable approach to space exploration and colonization. Another aspect of the study of plant life on Mars is the potential for using plants as a means of terraforming the planet. Terraforming is the process of transforming a planet into a more Earth-like environment that is habitable for humans. One proposed method of terraforming Mars involves the use of plants to produce oxygen and remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which could help to create a more breathable atmosphere for humans. Studies have shown that plants can produce oxygen and remove carbon dioxide in simulated Martian environments, and some researchers have proposed using genetically modified plants that are specifically designed to thrive in Martian conditions. For example, plants could be engineered to produce high levels of oxygen, or to store carbon in their roots, which would help to sequester carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Another proposed method of terraforming Mars involves the use of bacteria and other microorganisms to break down Martian soil and release nutrients that could be used to support plant life. This process, known as bioremediation, could help to create a more fertile and hospitable environment for plant growth. While the idea of terraforming Mars is still largely speculative, it represents an exciting area of research with significant implications for the future of space exploration and human habitation beyond Earth. By studying the potential of plants and other organisms to transform the Martian environment, we may be able to unlock new avenues for exploration and colonization of the red planet, and to pave the way for a more sustainable and resilient future for our species. In conclusion, The potential for plant life on Mars is an exciting area of research with significant implications for both scientific discovery and human exploration. While the challenges of growing plants in the Martian environment are significant, recent experiments and developments in the field suggest that it is possible to cultivate crops on the red planet with the right technology and techniques. As we continue to explore the potential for plant life on Mars, it is important to consider the broader implications of our research and the ethical questions it raises. By taking a thoughtful and responsible approach to the study of plant life on Mars, we can not only advance our understanding of the universe and our place in it but also pave the way for a more sustainable and resilient future, both on Earth and beyond.